Good afternoon, Transpac race fans. This is Dobbs Davis with Seahorse Magazine giving you the July 17th analysis of the 48th Transpac. We have in our opening screen here the yellow brick tracker. Those of you following along are probably familiar with this by now. As you can see, the first wave of boats are making great progress down the track, almost a third of the way down the way to Hawaii. They're all converging up on Great Circle. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here to just show some more details. And actually, while I'm waiting for that to refresh, there we go. This is a fully interactive site. It's really a great tool. Those that are new to the show have been probably just getting used to how to use it, but if you move the cursor around, you can bring up dialog boxes and information that shows what the current state of affairs are on the boats. I should say not current. 6-hour delay. The race organizers feel that having a delay on the trackers is important to allow the teams to do this race on their own with their own tools and not use trackers for tactical weapons. But for us in the audience, even though we're 6-hour delay and not seeing this in real time, it gives us a great window on what's happening out there and following them on the track. So the crowns here on our icons show our division leaders. Division 7 leader at this stage is Patriot. This is a J44 that we've seen the last couple of days has been doing well. They're picking up speed. They've gone from about an 8-knot average in the first couple of days to over 9.5 knots. So they're enjoying great conditions. Right next to them is Marjorie. Marjorie is that 59-foot cold molded ketch, the Stevens Waring design built at Brooklyn Boatyard in Maine. They are not quite going as fast as we see the J44 going, so maybe the wind's gone far enough aft now where the J44 has their spinnakers up, staysails up, flying along. The ketch, which did so very well in the first couple of days and was our overall leader, is now slowing down relative to their competition. So one of the windows over here on the left shows how the corrected time standings are. For those that are just joining us, corrected time is simply the elapsed time times a time correction factor that's calculated based on the measurements of the boat and the way the predicted speeds of the boat are on the Transpac course. So this is a bit of a clever bit of mathematics where they take the estimated time of arrival and the estimated elapsed time based on their current VMG down the course, multiply that times their time correction factor to get a corrected time. Now this corrected time is a corrected finish time based again on that projection. So it's a little bit of a stretch, but it does give us a relative idea on how they're doing. So Patriot has now moved into the lead overall for Division 7 and 8, taking over that lead from Marjorie. You can also look at these results by division by simply changing your classes here. Now, the other feature on the tracker in today's show is a whole new group of boats. Actually, before I leave Division 7 and 8, let's look here at some of our outliers. The Catalina 42 Wind Dancer now has the low road position. They're certainly moving along pretty well, 7.8 knots for a boat of that type. So they're down in the south. And then the Alpha Puppy, look at that big kink. They finally made the left turn, probably put the spinnaker up, and are now moving along quite fast. 9.2 knots for a one design 35 is really, really moving well. So they made the decision to go north and probably sail a little bit extra distance in doing that. Up north of Rumline at this stage of the race is a pretty unusual place to be. But we'll see. We'll see if that works out for them. Some of the other boats we've been looking for here, the smallest boat in the fleet, Fortissimo, they finally called in yesterday and reported that they're okay. They too are starting to move along a lot faster than they were before, so this indicates to us that that life is better on board these boats. In fact, we had some emails. I'll just drag these into the box here. These were position reports this morning from some of the boats, Resolute, Brett Walda. These are boats that started yesterday. I'll come to them in a minute. But down here, Verona Marjorie. Here, Marjorie. Winds 10 to 15, seas to 4 to 6 feet, partly cloudy. Cross passed with Patriot within 3 miles. No sign of Lending Club, which is now past our position. Boat and crew are well. Between the sheets, too darn dark to see, but feels like 6-foot rollers coming through. Let's see. Some of the reports, well, we'll come to these other reports for the next class back. They have a very different kind of situation going on for them. I'll come back actually now to the other news, which is Lending Club. Lending Club left on Wednesday. They opted to drop out of the race but go for a record run. Boy, they slowed down. They're only going 29.8 knots right now. They have been averaging in the 30s. This is a very, very fast boat. You can see that they've shifted up to going the shortest path possible, right directly on the Great Circle route. They're looking very, very good at this stage for a course record in the multi-hulls. In fact, let's see, here was an email earlier today. Great afternoon of sailing. J1 headsail full main, 100 to 120 true wind angle, 18 to 25 knots. Changed to the Jenniker at 4 a.m. and immediately went 6 knots faster and 10 degrees lower. So making 30 to 35 knots straight toward Hawaii. They also said something a little disturbing here, which is starting to see crap in the water, various floating plastic objects, and more worryingly, we hit something quite solid with the windward rudder, which was bad luck, as it's usually nowhere near the water surface. Miraculously, we don't seem to have sustained damage. This was a feature of the last race in 2013 due to the tsunami in Japan the year before, and there was a lot of debris out in the North Pacific. This is a big concern for not just sailors but ecologists. At some point in our later programs, we'll talk about that more. But everybody's on the lookout for this. The Lending Club guys say we're looking forward to nightfall when the debris does not exist, since we can't see it. So that's another bit of dark humor from them, but they are cracking right along quite well. Going over here toward our divisions, 3 divisions that started yesterday, divisions 4, 5, and 6. They are not having a great time out there, folks. You can probably see by the orientation of the icons of their boats and their tracks, they are not speeding along. Anytime you see these kinds of almost random-looking orientations of the boats, you know that they're in very light air. And that, in fact, is the case. Varuna here, 3 knots. Second wind, 1.8 knots. Adrenaline, 0.3 knots. Up to the north, Hamashi, the J125, Greg Slingstad's boat. Normally very well sailed, 2.7 knots. They're struggling out there, very light winds. That light Kiwi boat, that 35-foot canning keel boat, 2 knots. So what's happened, as you can see, I'll blow it up a little bit more. The group has not gotten very far away from each other because they're just not going very fast. Anytime you hit light air out on these tracks, typically you make a hard left turn, and that's what's happened here. So Brett Walda, they're not going fast at 2.5 knots, but you can see that they're much further down the track. Now these guys, Second Wind, Lucky Duck, and Hamashi have the crowns over their icons indicating that they're leading the race on corrected time, but that's simply because they're just closer to this rum line up here and closer to the shorter distance to Hawaii. So that's kind of an artificial thing. One of the things I'm seeing here with Hamashi, looking at their track, is they're probably tacking. They're actually going upwind. So the wind is out of the southwest. Now these guys down here, though, at least with straighter tracks, probably still on starboard tack, but they are making a little bit better progress and certainly making a commitment to going south. Kazan there is a Hawaii-based boat, and they're going pretty well at 5 knots. We'll see if that picks up for them tonight. Crescent 3, Japanese boat, also being part of this southerly group. Now, one thing we saw in the last race was this same division was hampered by the same problem. They had really light air getting off the coast. Some of them made a hard left turn to go south after having committed to the north. They literally crossed the racetrack, and it ended up working out in the end. But Not sure that strategy is going to work this time around, and we'll see why here in a moment. I'm going to switch over to the Wonder Map. This is wonderground.com. It's a great tool for looking at weather. Unlike yesterday when I was showing the isobars with the black background that all look very pretty with black and pink, I'm going to show the real deal now, which is showing wind vectors and based on the isobaric spacing, the wind speed. So wind speeds indicated here in shades of green and blue. But the areas that you really want to avoid are the gray and purple areas in here, because that's where there's little or no wind. This is the European model forecast, current run of the European model, 2100 GMT tomorrow. So subtracting 7 hours, that's about the same time as race time this time tomorrow for Saturday. Starting area is out over here. In fact, here, I'll shut this down. There we go. We get a little bit better view. So starting area out over here in Los Angeles, Hawaii over here. And as you can see, this big light area right in the middle of the racetrack. Now the current racers are just ahead of that, so they're kind of they're seeing the wind lighten, but not a lot yet. They're kind of ahead of this feature. The second wave is just coming into it. Out here now, they're going to have to struggle through that. You can see those southerlies that are in that forecast, but the guys that are starting tomorrow are really not happy because they've got some choices to make as how they get through this thing. I'll bring my layers back and show that this is not a feature that's going away anytime soon. Where is my... Here we are, model data. Switch over to the GFS model. If you think GFS is giving you anything better, you can see that it's not for the same time. But let's go. Let's just go forward in time a little bit. Bring our window up. There we go. So if we try to go forward in time now, actually that's a little bit too far. We'll come back to sometime on Sunday. Yeah, so Sunday doesn't look much better. This system, in fact, squashes out, goes out to the west, just smears its way across the racetrack. It just doesn't look good, folks. What is this over here? This is this big storm that everybody's been worried about. The GFS model thinks that it's there. When you switch over to the Euro model, they don't see it as quite as influential. It may or may not be worth trying to do anything with this. I was just speaking with Ken Campbell of Commander's Weather. He's been advising the team on wild oats and others. He says it's really too bad. If these boats that started tomorrow started on Monday, they would have no problem. They'd be out there with Landing Club breaking records. But unfortunately, with tomorrow, the weather that's handed to them, they don't have much to work with. They will have some westerlies coming off the coast. But by this time in the weather forecast, they should be somewhere out in here. This one's showing downwind. This one's showing that the storm track from this tropical depression is getting up far enough north toward the California-Mexican border to have some influence. It's not going to be much. You can see that the wind speeds here are not a lot, but the bigger worry is here. Now, Ken was saying in running some of the routing software, when you run the the Euro model, which is what we see here, the track wants you to take you well up to the north. In other words, dodge this feature here by going north. And going north early in Transpac is something that's almost never done. It's really a dodgy move. He doesn't like it too much. I'm sure others don't. If we switch over, however, to the GFS model for the same time, what we see is that this area of light air is much more constricted. So when you run the routing software on the GFS model, he says that the tracks actually take you south, try to slingshot off this pressure coming off this tropical depression and because there's a little bit of a narrower area here of light air, you actually kind of, just like playing pinball, come over into this thing. So the routing software, it likes the tropical depressions. It utilizes it in the routing, and likes, at least for this GFS model, wants to send the guys over into here. He said the real decision point will come tomorrow morning when they look at the weather, they make the determination, or even tomorrow afternoon. You know, they'll set off, they got to get around the west end, but that's going to be the decision point tomorrow. Will they go north, up and around this way, follow the Euro model routing, or go south, follow the GFS routing, maybe try to spring something off of here? So that's our story for today. Thanks for joining us. I will be back again with analysis tomorrow after the start. Hopefully we get a little bit better weather, but stay tuned. And for Transpac, the 48th running this year, 2015, I'm Dobbs Davis from Seahorse Magazine saying so long.